Welcome back to the Hours for Midnight podcast. Today we got INAV and the gang. How's everybody doing? How's it feel to be in the studio?
You can't just disregard like that. We got Gurleen. Also Zuffer Productions.
I
Plug
didn't
in.
know that Zuffer Productions. Shout out Gurleen and Zuffer Productions. How you guys doing?
We're doing awesome.
ਬਹੁਤ ਵਧੀਆ ਚੜ੍ਹਦੀ ਕਲਾ
Chardadi Kala Maharaj.
ਹਾਂਜੀ
Awesome, amazing. Chardadi Kala Irave. How's it feel to be on your guys' first podcast?
nervous
Nervous? It's super.
Very
It's super.
nerve-wracking.
No, it's super chill. Well, I'll let Jasmine take over. But it's funny. We were just talking about cameras before this, and I was like, I'm the only non-camera person in this room, so I'll let you guys go over that. But still, like, it's an honor. Like, I've seen your work. I think I've seen you on his pages and everything as well, and it's just like amazing. But
Yeah.
how did you guys meet Jasmine? That's where we can start.
Well, actually, I met Nav Baji before. This is my first time meeting Gurleen. I've heard of Gurleen, but first time meeting Nav Baji. Do you want to talk?
yeah sure it's it was actually at a Mehndi event and we are always scared of content creators and taking photos, and all of a sudden Jasmine pops in and she's like, oh, now my turn. And then she started creating some really good shots and staying very professional at what she was doing, and like, she was one of the few content creators who was not annoying.
Oh, pange bahut kar diya.
Yeah.
ATV, yo. You guys don't even know.
Yeah.
Every single podcast episode except for this one, it's a back khai jandi hai. Apna meal pack kare on the right? Adda hi bicche dol janda. And then it's like just munching.
Yeah.
Hilarious.
There was one time where I was like, his mom made me roti before, so I'm like sitting there eating all the dahi spilled all over like the
Yeah.
chair. I was like, ooh, it happens. It happens. Don't worry. But no, for real today. So we got INAV, very well-known wedding photographer in the game, and then also Gurleen, who helped. Like you guys basically started together, right?
Yeah.
Like from the beginning.
Yeah.
So what was that like? How? Well, you were saying that Nav Baji reached out to you, right?
Yeah.
So how did you guys get into it? Like, did you get just straight into the wedding
So,
industry, or
so how did we got into
like so
into
did you
INAV
just started like boom like right off the bat wedding stuff, or did you do like smaller stuff in the beginning?
No, right off the bat, it was like weddings. Before starting INAV,
Oh,
I was
wow.
working with other great companies.
Yeah.
And then there was a point in life where it was like, okay, chalo, hum kariye kuch. And first thing and the most important was to ki bhi chalo team kidna kathi karni hai.
Yeah.
Stumbled upon Gurleen's page, messaged her, hey, would you be interested in shooting weddings? And she was like, yeah, sure.
Yeah.
And then we met at Starbucks.
Wait, can I just briefly
Tiga.
say that I messaged back saying I know nothing about wedding photography and that I have this XYZ equipment, but I know nothing about the wedding industry, and I don't know how to shoot a wedding. Like, I've never done it before.
Yeah.
And this guy goes, yeah, no worries. I'll teach you everything.
Because Paji's like, Chardadi Kala. He's like, like, let's
No
see where it
problem.
goes. He
Sick
sees-
gear. But
Yeah.
yeah, sure, I'll teach you everything.
Yeah, he sees the potential.
First
That's so funny.
My first wedding I shot all in JPEGs.
Wow.
No way.
And
Wow.
that was actually the first wedding of INAV as well.
Oh my god.
Yeah, so we both were new kids around the block.
At least one of us shot raw.
Yeah. You know what? That's fine, because I know like JPEGs are definitely hard. Like you can't edit as much on there, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's so funny. But you gotta. Everyone starts from somewhere,
Yeah.
right? So
Sorry,
how?
continue.
Yeah.
And then I'll share the PSL thing. So we met and we were like, chalo coffee peene hai. And ordering the coffee, like I'm standing ahead of her, and I ordered PSL, and she's like right behind me, and she ordered PSL as and we both looked at each other, and I was like, yeah, we can make a good team.
Synchronicity.
Yo, that's actually crazy, because like such a big synchronicity. Because when me and Ikdeep were gonna start Hours for Midnight like 2.5 years ago, we met at Starbucks too in the summer, right? And I'll never forget, I was a coffee fiend back then until now too. Like I just had, when I went to go get the water bottles, like I had a shot of espresso,
Yeah.
like to this day, right? But back then I got coffee. And then Ikdeep got like some Landu Tandu juice jar thing, right? He got water, which is even worse than juice, right? So right off the bat, I was like, red flag.
Red flag.
But here we are 2 years later. That's so funny. But yeah, so no, sorry, going back to the whole wedding thing, how long have you been doing? Because I know I feel like you guys just like boomed out of nowhere. Like your company is doing so well.
So for us, 2019 was the very first year in business. And we started planning for everything in fall 2018. And we got actually lucky with COVID. COVID.
It was COVID, and I totally forgot about that.
Right. And like right into the first year, you got surprised with COVID. Their whole wedding industry was shut off. But we put it into a very good use.
Yeah.
We started a lot of researching, a lot of traveling, driving.
Yeah.
Name it, we can, and we did it. So we with the traveling thing, we did some of the very unique shoots, very unique concepts.
Yeah.
That actually put us apart.
So actually, that's the next thing I was gonna say. Like, let's get into that because you guys are so creative with your shots. I've seen the BTS videos. Man, I've seen them too. I know Ekdeep has. It's like they're everywhere. They always pop on everyone's For You page, right? And it seems like the couples are having so much fun with you guys. Like, how do you come up with these concepts? And like, I know you guys put a lot of work into it. So like, what's everything just behind that?
So every year we kind of make like a mood board for like, this is like our vision board for the year. So like
Sick.
we needed, like, for example, that rug thing that we recently did.
Yeah.
We had thought about that like late last year. And we
No,
were like,
that was actually Janelle guys' idea.
that was that journal's idea?
The rug thing was Janelle guys' idea.
But
okay.
there was also that plain one where you guys.
Yeah. So these are all
one.
things that like they're like on our roster, and then we kind of like, whenever like we're doing a creative consult with like a couple, we kind of tend to get a gist of like what their vibe is, right? And if they're like the type of people that are like, yeah, we want to go above and beyond, and then there's types of people that are like, no, we're casual people, we're not really like out there type of people, right? So we kind of like pick and choose who is going to be good for this concept, right? And then we kind of just plug it in that way.
And it also depends upon, like, whenever we do crazy shoots like that, it also depends upon how much a couple wants to invest into it. For example, the rug idea that we just did. Just to set up and to bring out 25 rugs out of stores and have everything done.
Yeah, there were a lot of rugs in there.
Yeah, it takes a lot. And the park shoot did not finish until like 8 p.m.
Oh wow!
Yeah.
8 p.m.
Yeah.
Were they like? But how was like the couple with it? Because I know sometimes like there's like the time crunch stuff, right?
Yeah.
Do you guys usually take that into account, or you're just like, let's just flow with it?
So for that, we always get to ask the couple first.
Yeah.
Tusi ki chahne ho? Like how far you want to push.
Yeah.
Some couples, they are like, okay, let's keep it to the time, let's keep it to the schedule. In that time frame, whatever we can do, let's make the best out of it. Some couples, they are like, Nav, chakko do fatte, koi tension hi nahi.
That's so nice when they just give you like full.
Yeah. And with this, the Turkish rug couple that we are talking about, one thing about that wedding is, bacche to leke siyane tak.
Yeah.
Not even a single person rushed us. Not even a single person told us ki bhi sheti karo, late ho gaye.
That's so nice. You guys probably run across that very often, right?
We get blamed for everything.
Yeah.
Camera wale bhaiya ne
Sheti karo bhai.
sheti karo. Ab photo wale bala time lai jande.
That's the biggest thing. Photo wale tusi late kari janne.
Yeah, but it's funny because I feel like apne they're never gonna like accept us Desi standard time. Everybody's they're never gonna accept their own faults, right?
Yeah. Okay, it's easier to blame the outsider.
It's like everybody's just drinking cha and they're just talking about like photo wale, like this is all their small talk, right?
Yeah. No, and thing is, throughout the wedding, we are the most visible vendor, or we are the most visible in general as well. We are running all over the place, directing people, coordinating everything, making sure we have all the angles and everything. So visibility करके ना कोई भी blame होता है कि भी ओदी गलती होनी है ओदे करके late होया आ होया वो होया.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I get it from like their perspective, but it's funny because I feel like they don't try to understand from our perspective too. Because sometimes as photographers, you're standing there waiting for them to get ready, right?
Yeah.
And
yes, but majority of the time we try to utilize the time, the wait time, when, like, let's say if anybody in the wedding is running late, instead of waiting for that, we try to put it into a better and more productive use.
Yeah.
Do more creative shots. For example, let's say जे आप bride the portraits करने और groom the portraits करने.
Yeah.
So instead of like having a simple light setup, we can go more beyond, throw a light from outside, given a rim light, or change the decor, change the overall vibe.
So just kind of like actually make use of like the time.
Yes. Put it into a better use. And sometimes time te bhi rush honda hai, but we don't really have an optimal situation. For example, when it has happened so many times where you go to a bride's morning or groom's morning where there's not even 5 foot space from the backdrop. How you are supposed to shoot in there. So only way we are left with is to move the whole setting, move the whole concept. So it always takes time. So just start off the bat, the day starts right.
Yeah, there's like a lot that goes into, like, I guess I feel like photography, right? You have to be so like mindful of everything there, and like I feel like, how is it like working with other vendors, like decor and things like that?
A lot of the times, like the couple will reach out to us and be like, "Hey, I'm thinking about doing this for decor. Like, do you think this will be good for pictures?" And then we'll give our input in.
Yeah.
But our biggest thing is always like, we need like the maximum amount of space, right? Like the more space we have, the more room we have to work in, right?
Yeah.
So that's the biggest thing. Just don't put it on a wall that is like so narrow that like we only have like
where you guys can barely like work, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Because like if we are to shoot just with the flash on the camera, and with a very basic and minimal setup, it's going to, whatever is there, we'll make it work.
Yeah.
But if we have to have a proper lights, proper setup where what we do at the best, we can perform at the best, we need a playground to play.
Yeah, that's essentially what it is, right? And I feel like even with your guys' work, like you're so creative, like you guys make anything work. Like you just make something out of it.
Yeah, because you guys work. We take it as a challenge then.
Yeah, you guys, like you guys' creative juices are always flowing.
Right, and it also comes down to a point with the team you are working with. And that comes back to the previous question as well, how it's about working with other vendors. So in Vancouver industry, it's a very close-knit industry where we all are like kind of friends, where we all try to push each other, and that helps us to keep our creative juices alive as well. And it, at the end, we are humans, and we sometimes comes down to a point where it's like कि दिमाग freeze हो गया. Idea नहीं आ रहा.
That's what I was gonna ask to you, because even for me, like I felt like creativity is something that you can really kind of take for granted. Like sometimes like sutta nahi janda, or like you're so busy, you get burnt out, then all of a sudden you're not creative. And for me, I would always realize like for us, it's like my background's like business software, like enterprise software. Like same thing like you. I was like, yo, kuch kariye. I started a company like a year ago, and now it's going really good. But it's like you always have these ideas, right? Like when you're on the go, and then I would forget them. And so I had to like literally like I keep like a notepad in my pocket, and even if I'm like doing something and then I get an idea, I'll like write it down, and then I'll go back to what I'm doing. So I'll be like, okay, the creativity is so like when it's there, and when it's not, you can't force it. You just kill it even more.
And it happens a lot when you're like standing in front of a bride and you're like thinking what to do next, and then as soon as दिमाग दे विच आ गल आ गई भी हुन की करिए,
then it's blank. Then you're black.
And somebody is looking at you.
It's like darkness in your mind.
चक्कर आ जांदे भरा.
Straight up. Then एक दूसरे वाले देखते हैं. Then that eye contact is like, yo, I'm in trouble.
See, that's like nice because you have like a team that you can work with. Because like that's like my next question. That's what I was gonna ask. Like, what do you do when you have a creative block? When you just like blank out? Like, what's your thought process in that?
Just like take a pause. Take a pause, rahalo, and ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਨਾਲ ਵਾਲੇ ਵੀਡੀਓ folks ਨੇ, we always like
take turns.
Photo video ਇਕੱਠੇ ਹੁੰਦੇ ਆ ਸਾਰੇ, ਤੇ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਕਹਿ ਦੋ ਕਿ ਵੀ ਭਾਈ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਚਲੋ in the meantime just phone ਕੱਢੋ ਤੇ ਦੋ ਦੇਖਣ ਲੱਗ ਜਾਓ ਕਿ ਵੀ ਕੀ ਕਰਨਾ.
Honestly, just go to like what I do is I just go to like the iNav Instagram page, the first post there, all right, go to that post now. That's it.
Yeah, 100%. It was actually like, it's different, but it's the same thing where when me and Ekdeep started podcasting, right? ਪਹਿਲਾਂ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਫਿਕਰ ਜਾ ਹੋਣਾ ਵੀ ਜੇ ਗੱਲਾਂ ਮੁੱਕ ਗਈਆਂ ਤਾਂ ਫਿਰ ਕੀ ਕਰੀਏ and then we were like, okay, like what if you just don't know what to talk about? And then we got to the point, got experience, and we realized, okay, you know, like key topic hunde that you can just have on the back burner. Like okay, then I'll bring this up. And then you just get used to like the improv. Like I was just saying, like one wire is broken, we had to figure it out. Just improv is the thing. Yeah, it's crazy.
And ਕਈ ਵਾਰੀ ਇਦਾਂ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਕਿ ਵੀ you get to a situation where ਤੁਸੀਂ planning ਕੁਝ ਹੋਰ ਕੀਤੀ ਹੁੰਦੀ ਹੈ and you get served with something else. So you have to improvise right off the bat. Ki bhi utte aage ki kariye ki nahi.
Do you have any stories of like any like what's kind of like the craziest clutch moment, like Kobe Bryant 3 seconds left, like you made like something that was not looking so good into something amazing type of story?
Actually, yeah, we had a wedding in Duncan and bride morning shots kar rahe hain and very little time left ki bhi hun ki kariye and like I'm not happy with what I'm getting so far. Then I think it was Janal working with me.
Wait, this was the one you guys just did recently, right?
No, it's a different one. It's back in 22 23.
Okay.
Yeah, and then we are like ki bhi hun ki kariye. So that bride had a really nice vintage glass in her door, in the main entrance door. So we were like, let's utilize it. So we mounted a light outside, faked the sun, and did the shots in front of that glass door. And those ones were the great shots of the morning. So it was like, chalo bhi badhiya ho gaya.
Yeah.
Do you feel like when you start doing it for work, right? Like you can't do it like for pleasure anymore. Like for example, sometimes, right? I'll just take a photo of like a tree or something. I'll be like, yo, this is so nice, right? But that's because I take like one photo a week. So I'm like, yo, like in Nasrona, like my wallpaper palm and everything.
No, man.
Right?
When you're in the flow, you're in the flow. Like you can't. Like for example, he was just in the UK. There's no possible way that while he wasn't shooting weddings, he wasn't shooting landscapes at the same time.
Have you guys ever encountered? I'm sure you guys haven't encountered, but was your experience working with like couples that are just very like just get it done and over with? Like you can just tell that they're not really like, they don't really care too much for it. Like how do you guys go about dealing with clients like that?
So
Why are you looking at me?
so far we have been like very lucky.
Yeah.
Ki bhi all our couples see whatever we ask them to do, they're up for it. For example, the float plane shoot we just did. The idea was couple jumping into the water and we are doing some underwater shots and all that stuff. It's a crazy idea.
Yeah.
And when you get into unknown waters, you don't know what you are stepping into. So it's very challenging as well as very risky as well as for our equipment. Je pani ch gaya te kya.
Yeah.
Ose shoot de utte we had one of our cameras dropped all the way to the bed and it was 30 meters deep.
No.
Yeah.
That's so crazy. So did you like go dive underwater and get it?
We tried.
You had to be a casa there?
We tried.
Yeah.
We tried. Paira naal rassiyan ban ke.
Yeah.
Te vi banda andar hi na reh jaye.
You need a chumbak or something, like a crazy
chumbak. Pull
chumbak.
back and like everything. It was very, very hectic. Like and once you go down 5 meter deep, the visibility becomes very
super dark. 30 meters is
dark.
actually crazy. That's like proper divers. Go 30 meters. And there's so much air pressure and everything. So then you just didn't.
No.
How are you actually supposed to, right? But also, like, do you feel like the camera would have been in koi halat to bring it back up, right? Like maybe not.
The main thing was the footage that was inside the camera.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
The camera to chalo ho raha hai na, footage is not something. It's not gonna come back. Luckily, the pilot of the float plane, he was a Navy SEAL. He was a retired Navy SEAL.
Yo, you should take behind the scenes.
We did.
You gotta really say like the guy's like, yo, I'm at the military joint.
He was like,
this is what I'm trained to do.
Paji like harman ge side te kende chalo rehne do. The guy is like,
and the funniest part is ਪਹਿਲਾਂ ਉਹ ਨਾ ਸਾਈਡ ਤੇ ਬੈਠਾ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਦੇਖੀ ਗਿਆ ਕਿ ਵੀ ਆ ਕਰੀ ਕੀ ਜਾਂਦੇ ਆ
yeah
ਉਹਨੂੰ ਪਤਾ ਲੱਗ ਗਿਆ ਸੀ ਕਿ ਵੀ ਸਾਡਾ ਕੈਮਰਾ ਗਿਆ
yeah
and he is like ਕਿ ਵੀ ਚਲੋ let them try And he was like, are you guys looking for a diver? And
Wow.
and I was
Let me
like,
just pitch my resume real quick.
Yeah.
and I was like, it's pretty risky, do it at your own risk. And he was like, don't worry, I used to be a Navy SEAL and I'm a decent diver.
Wow.
So he said, chalo ji. And
That's
within like
crazy.
5 minutes, jo baar le aaya. Within
Really?
like first dive.
That's
Oh my
insane.
God.
Yeah, that was
Lucky.
crazy. Yeah.
Banda on call rakhiyo hun. Registration.
Can I get your number, please?
Yeah.
You want to be a part of INAV photo?
We might need emergency diver.
Yeah.
So how was like the footage was fine? Like
Yeah, footage was fine. Yeah.
wow, that's crazy. 30 meters.
Yeah.
Okay, so my next thing was, what are your do's and don'ts for couples? Like for pre-shoots, weddings. Do you guys have any? I have a list of those, or
Yeah, so usually before like every wedding, either me or Nav will have like a final consult with like a couple, and then we have sort of like our like sort of list of what to expect from a photographer's perspective. And then in that we just kind of discuss what their day is gonna be like, what they have planned, anything different, whatever, and then we kind of just go.
so what about your thoughts on content creators?
I mean, content creators are awesome. It's when they're not in our way.
Thing is, there's a very limited time.
Yeah.
On a wedding day, or even for a shoot or anything, the time is of essence. And there's a photographer, there's a videographer who are trying to get professional photos and videos for the couple. And in the meantime, as long as it stays more like a B-roll thing for the content creator, it's great, it's wonderful. They capture the whole essence of the moment, whatever is happening. वो सारा कुछ couple के लिए memories च जा रहा है. But if as soon as there is a moment कि भी चलो हुन मेरी बारी, that's when it gets little hectic. Then actually those photos and videos are not particularly for us, it's for the couple. So as I said, time is of essence, and whenever there is a split of time between so many people, the couple gets the less.
I agree. Honestly, as a content creator, I feel like I can say it too, that from even things I've heard, some content creators think that their shot is more important. But personally, even as a content creator, like I would say that what you're doing is it's a supplement, personally, how I feel. It's
basically to give the couple the whole essence of the moment.
And I feel like it's like supplementing the videography and photography, because at the end of the day too, like the couple is paying so much more for your service and the videography service, right? Whereas for content creation, you're not really paying as much. And like I feel like if you can't get that the first look moment on your phone, it's not that big of a deal, because videographers got it and the photographers got it on camera, right? But yeah, I know I've just wanted to get what you guys thought about it, because I know some people
we've had such good experiences with content creators. Like I think
we have been lucky.
Yeah, we've been lucky. We've heard some horror stories, but like I think so far we've been lucky. But I personally, I'm on the side of like, hey, man, if we can all just work together on something and we all understand what our roles are today, then we're all going to benefit from it.
I feel like all the couples you work with have so much fun with you guys.
That's like our biggest thing is like, we're such sociable people, and our biggest like concern is, can we be friends with you first? You know what I mean? Like when we're like onboarding clients, we're like, hey, like, are we going to be able to get along? Because at the end of the day, like the relationship between the client and the vendor, like especially like photo, video and makeup artists, like we're so in your face throughout the whole wedding week. Right. And so it's very important that like that relationship is like a good and positive one, where we can say like positive and negative things about each other, like at that moment, like be able to give that criticism.
And one thing I always tell my couples is, if you guys are not comfortable with us as a person, there is no way you guys will be comfortable in front of our cameras. So that's why we try ki bhi haan bhi chalo bhi ease off ho jaye. There is no pressure. The comfort zone hai.
I feel
more like a friend's zone rather than having a vendor to a client relationship. Or having to be, this is what the contract says.
I feel like it's very important to have like that chemistry, right? Like 100% with your clients.
It's like in all business too. Like I always notice too, is when you just keep it focused on just the actual, like the friendship of it,
Yeah.
Like people aren't gonna ever think about like, okay, the contract said this, or oh my god, I have to pay him.
Yeah.
They're gonna, you know what I mean? They're gonna be so
Yeah.
happy. It's for like everything. I always felt like even for me, like when I first started off just doing software sales, when I would focus on selling, it would never get anywhere. But when I would focus on helping them, like as a person, like, oh, I know how to do this, let me help you. Or you guys are like, okay, we have this vision, like let us take these amazing photos. People completely forget that it's even a business thing. People feel like, okay, these are just like my friends. That's like the best part you can be.
And that is actually one of the reasons that why we received a lot of love from our couples is they feel so comfortable that ਜੇ ਅਸੀਂ ਇੱਕ family ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਇੱਕ wedding ਕੀਤੀ ਹੈ, we get to do a lot more weddings within the same friend circle, within the same cousin circle, because they see us how well we are working. They are not कि भी हाँ भी आगे कैमरे वाले भाई आ गए.
You actually have like a proper
there as a family.
Exactly.
And the pre-shoot is where that relationship really solidifies. Because we're all having so much fun during the pre-shoot, right? And by the time the wedding week rolls around, like all you talk about is the memories from the pre-shoot, right?
So have you guys ever had someone like negotiating prices with you guys?
It's in our skin. But it's great. It's good. I feel every client should do it, and every business should be open to receive it as a positive thing. You have set prices, you have set policies and everything, but you cannot deny a fact that there will be no negotiation or anything. Take it positively, take it respectfully, and see how you can help your couples be, okay, this is what you guys want with the price, but this is how we have it justified as, right? And within that, see how you can give the best to your couples. Give it, try to fit in their budget where it's like maybe you are not compromising your prices as well, but the couple is getting the best value for their money.
100%. There's another side to it too, where I feel like a lot of times people want to feel special. Like they just want to feel like, okay, they're not paying regular price. It's kind of like, you know what I mean? Like it's kind of like, I remember when I was little and I would go to Canadian Tire with my dad, right? And he'd be like, "Dekh la, pehla pricing boxing de to pehla chak dente ya, fir sale la dente," but it's just the same actual price. And sometimes, you know, if you can just focus on making somebody feel special too, and they're still paying a normal price, they really just want to see that, like, okay, I'm some kind of like, you know, martan, and that's it. But I think like also like especially like in the beginning too, like as a business, you're not always going to get what you want with price. But for you guys and like anybody, I think it's like once you have so much proof out there of what you guys can do, then I think people don't even really like care to negotiate nearly as much, because they're like, okay, this is what they do.
Right.
Yeah, but I think like a lot of people, sometimes it's hard for them to grow because pehla to they're like, oh, main nahi lane ta main ek penny bhi nahi cut lani. Right? Like when you started in 2018, did you feel like, you know, you were just like starting off in that more humble side?
I think humbleness is something that stays with you forever. If you're humble only for a particular period of a time, that's pseudo. That's not something who you are. As a person you are humble, it stays forever. But for the pricing wise, yes, when you don't have much work to do, the policies tend to be a lot more flexible. And as well as there is a lot more bookings, a lot more couples, to keep it fair with everyone, it's a good idea to have a same pricing policy for all the couples. But there should also be a consideration that if it's a fourth wedding in the same family, or
100%,
or if it's a brand new booking, how your relationship with the couple, how is your relationship with the family, right? You cannot have it too capitalistic approach. You have to give it more of a human approach as well.
100%. It's also like Costco too, where it's like the more you buy, the more you save. It's like both. But
no, I think that's like a good way to go about it for sure. So like my next thing I was gonna ask is, I know you guys have probably heard of like the new restrictions around like outdoor weddings and stuff. What are your guys' thoughts on that?
Jasmine loves talking about this on the podcast. It's like a weekly topic is like the lehenga ban, and then the outdoor wedding ban. Ekdeep loves it.
I know some people are still doing it. So, like, how are you guys like approaching that? Because I know, like, I don't know if you guys have probably heard about it too, like where there have been some outdoor weddings, but they have gotten shut down, right? But some outdoor weddings have gone through. So, like, what are you guys like thoughts on it? How are you guys approaching that? Like, are you guys still taking the outdoor bookings or?
So for that, like it's a very very big topic and very heavy question as well.
Yeah.
Like whole podcast can revolve around this question as well.
Yeah, because there's many aspects that you can look at it, right?
Yeah, so it's very heavy. But just as a very small aspect for it is कि there is a maryada laid out by Akal Takht Sahib.
Yeah.
And being a Sikh, if you want to do your wedding according to the Sikh traditions, there is a maryada that has to be followed.
Yeah.
Whether it's outdoor wedding or whether it's inside the Gurdwara, no matter wherever you do, Guru Sahib da Prakash ਸਾਰੇ ਥਾਂ ਤੇ ਹੈ ਪੂਰੇ ਦੁਨੀਆ ਜਹਾਨ ਤੇ ਹੈ ਰਾਈਟ ਜਗ੍ਹਾ ਉਹਨੂੰ ਇੱਕ ਪਾਰਟਿਕੂਲਰਲੀ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਆ ਉਹ ਬਾਉਂਡਰੀਜ਼ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਡਿਫਾਈਨ ਨਹੀਂ ਕਰ ਸਕਦੀ ਇਟ ਕੈਨ ਬੀ ਐਵਰੀਵੇਅਰ ਫੋਲੋ ਦੀ ਗਾਈਡਲਾਈਨਸ ਫੋਲੋ ਦੀ ਮਰਿਆਦਾ ਐਂਡ you can do it anywhere or like
yeah, that's true. That is very true. But again, like how you mentioned earlier, it is definitely like I feel like a heavier question because there's so many things that go into it, right? Like it's there's many things I feel like because even personally, like I don't want to offend anyone, but I have seen like a lot of biadbi as well with like outdoor weddings as compared to indoor. But then even with indoors weddings, there are some things where like this shouldn't be happening, right? So it definitely is like more of a heavier question. But I just wanted to get your guys' thoughts on that.
Yeah, no, there is certainly no room for biadbi.
Yeah.
And again, anybody who's doing it should not be doing it at any cost. There is, as I said, there's a form that you have to follow.
Yeah.
Just do it the right way.
Yeah. Totally agree.
Yeah, 100%. I think for a lot of people, it just comes down to like, I guess, like they just use their excuse of like not knowing or not understanding to like not do it. But then it's like, nobody's forcing you to have an Ananda Karaj.
Yeah.
If you're not connected to Sikhi, like you can have a court marriage. Then it's like, okay, right? Like, but just do it the right way if you're going to do it.
A lot of the times it's pressure from parents as well.
Yeah, that's true.
कि भी नहीं गुरुद्वारे ची इलामा करनी है ते जो मर्जी हो जाए ते but again it's you if you want to connect your biggest day of your life with Guru Granth Sahib, you better understand what Lama is. You better understand what the meaning of Lama is. You better understand the Maryada. You better understand कि भी हाँ भी उत्थे जो Guru Sahib कोले जाना है तुसी किमें लामा पढ़नी है. For example, a lot of the times I have heard some of the management committee members saying कि भी ਜਦੋਂ ਪਾਠੀ ਸਿੰਘ ਲਾਮ ਪੜੂਗਾ ਉਦੋਂ ਐਂਡ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਨਾਨਕ ਸ਼ਬਦ ਆਊਗਾ ਉਦੋਂ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਮੱਥਾ ਟੇਕ ਕੇ ਉੱਠ ਕੇ ਤੁਰਨ ਲੱਗ ਜਾਣਾ like what is this
because they don't know, right?
Like,
they make it like the formula, right?
Like
even if you don't understand anything, like this is just what you need to survive, like the bare minimum. That's crazy. At that point it's all just for show though. Like
and
wild.
all the lama part, the couple is more focused into the nanak naam ਆਊਗਾ ਜਦੋਂ ਨਾਨਕ ਦਾ ਨਾਮ ਲਿਆ ਜਾਊਗਾ ਉਦੋਂ ਮੈਂ ਮੱਥਾ ਟੇਕ ਕੇ ਤੁਰਨਾ ਹੈ right? The whole essence of the lama is missed.
Yeah, 100%. I think that's like a deeper society thing now too, though, where like if you think about it, like your average person who's getting married is sitting there and they have so much anxiety because they're like, okay, maybe like online video parniya, what do people think of me? Mere bare family ki sochugi. Whereas like 200-300 years ago, it was just like, okay, Sri Guru Granth Sahib ji has Maharaj ji and we're getting married. And it was so simple. But now it's like society is just so like complicated and people are so like, I don't know.
It's all about the aesthetics.
Becoming
about the aesthetics.
But one thing I would say is if you try to understand what Lama is, if you try to talk to the Pathi Singh कि भी हाँ भी सानू मतलब समझाओ. Us we are going to spend our whole life around this principle. We are choosing the biggest day of our lives to be at that moment. And what does this mean? So take out time. Like this is one thing I would say for anybody who's getting married. take out time off your busy lives. It won't take more than an hour or so. Go to Guru Ka, talk to Baba Ji, and understand the meaning. Ki lama utte jaake what to expect, right? How you can prepare yourself. And I think once you understand the lama part more, the more you guys will be comfortable.
Yeah.
It will be a lot more comfortable, and that's when you will disconnect with everything else.
Yeah.
Like you won't be worried कि सामने कोई बंदा खड़ के मैनू आए करके इशारा कर रहा है कि नहीं और कि लाइन ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਕਦੋਂ ਨਾਨਕ ਦਾ ਨਾਮ ਆ ਰਿਹਾ ਹੈ ਜਾਂ ਫਿਰ ਕਦੋਂ ਕੀ ਹੋ ਰਿਹਾ ਉਸ ਅਕੋਰਡਿੰਗ you just connect yourself, you just listen to it, and after that you just be there.
Exactly, because they have because couples they go to gurdwaras and they do talk to like the parties and everything beforehand, right? So like they can explain it then. I feel like that's actually really good advice, like which I've never heard from anyone.
Yeah.
And I feel like more people need to like understand that and like listen to it.
Yeah, and there are like workshops throughout the year that like Gurdwara Sahibs do, like longer workshops, which I think a lot of people should be encouraged to go to.
Yeah, 100%. And it's like, it's true because when you're just really in love with the Gurbani, you'll just be in the present.
Yeah.
So like, I know exactly what you mean when you say like, you're not even going to realize it because you'll just be in that present moment. There's no khayal, there's no anxiety, there's no fear. It's just like, okay, like, you know, that feeling of pyar. You know what was one of my most controversial moments on the podcast, right? It's like a year ago or something. Ekdeep was like to me, he's like, yo, like, mere cousin da vyah siga, or kisi da vyah siga, right? And they were getting classes for how to sit, like, chonkdi maar ke, like cross-legged, like they were getting training, right? And I was like, yaar, it is a badi society pahunch gayi, like we chonkdi maranu training chahiye and stuff, right? And I was like, but like in your experience, do you feel like some people just don't have that flexibility? Like I never knew if it was real.
So odech pata hai it's sometimes couples might also have some physical restrictions. Not everybody can chokra bat for very long. And legs going numb is very common.
Yeah.
So it's a very good idea to stretch out before. Start stretching couple of months into your wedding week. Start practicing how you'll sit.
Yeah.
So that when you actually sit for 30-40 minutes, your legs won't go numb. Start preparing your body to sit there without having your mind diverted from Bani towards your legs.
Yeah.
ਅਰਦਾਸ ਕਰੋ ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਅੱਗੇ ਕਿ ਵੀ ਬਾਬਾ ਜੀ ਵੀ ਮੈਂ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਸਾਹਮਣੇ ਬੈਠਣਾ ਮੇਰੇ ਸਰੀਰ ਨੂੰ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਸ਼ਕਤੀ ਬਖਸ਼ੋ ਬਲ ਬਖਸ਼ੋ ਕਿ ਮੈਂ ਇੰਨੀ ਦੇਰ ਤੱਕ ਚੌਕੜਾ ਮਾਰ ਕੇ ਬੈਠ ਸਕਾਂ.
Yeah, I just thought it was crazy that like I don't know, I guess like I grew up like more like going to evening schools, learning Punjabi, sitting in Diwan and stuff. So for me, I just couldn't understand that like it can be so hard to sit chonkdi for like 30-40 minutes, right? But also like jadon main like 4-5 mahine like chaj naal paath nahi karda, right? Then I know it too, like your legs fall out of shape and it's like a huge difference. So it's crazy. So how'd you come up with like because I was just reading it when you came in, right? Probably like your first impression. It's like pain is temporary, and you get the feeling that like this guy eats glass, like you know he's like super like raw, like so behind it were you just like, yo, boss, it's just pain, like I'm just gonna hustle, like work hard, like edit for like.
This is something we say to like every couple of hours because when again you're in the water and it's cold. Pain is temporary. The pictures will last you
have to dive in for your camera.
Exactly.
Pain is temporary.
Exactly. That's what gets us through a 16-hour wedding day.
And when you are like in a very heavy wedding outfits in a heat wave on a hot summer day at 5 p.m. when sun is all at your head. And you're sweating out and you just want to get over with it. That's when the pain is temporary.
So, okay, you know what I wanted to ask as well. So I've worked alongside like INAV, you know, for like a wedding that I did content for, clearing that I was a content creator. Gurleen, what's your experience? Because I haven't worked alongside. I've worked with like some other people from your guys' company, but what's your experience like working with Nav Baji?
How do I sum up the last 5 years?
It's tough.
No, I mean, like,
what's the dark side?
I mean, you had to
myself from slapping him every day.
I mean, you did. I mean, you had to. You know, you went and started your own company. That has to say something. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
No. It's all love. No. I think I've looked up to him ever since I started working with him. He's definitely been like a mentor, a big brother. Everything I know about photography. I didn't go to photography school. I went to film school. again, like I messaged back saying I don't know anything about wedding photography, and then 5 years later, here I am, right?
Yeah.
That goes to show a lot that like he takes
and even
people,
if even you tried leaving, but you just can't.
you just can't. Once he takes you under his wing, he doesn't let go.
That's actually pretty crazy. So now from Navpaji's perspective, right? Did you have that perspective that like, like she can learn so much? She's like, maybe like in her earlier career stages, and then I can teach her and we can work together a long time. Because like for me, right? Like sometimes honestly, like I'll like hire younger people too, but I'll be like, I'll teach them and then we'll just be like loyal and grow and everything. But you hire somebody who's already an expert, sometimes they're too chalak. Like, was that your thought process too?
It's learning and unlearning and relearning are always the various aspects in the learning curve. But yes, personally, I think that if there is a blank skate, it's easy to write or easy to learn.
Yeah.
But if you already have your strict mindset, for that you need to see how willing you are to unlearn.
Yeah, because people get
and
their
then
ego
relearn.
involved, right? And then they take things like, it's a very sensitive industry you're in, where like even like I noticed in any sort of creative work, right? Like, so I have designers that design software, and sometimes I'll be like, yo, I sworn on it. Like, this is this ugly, right? But then like I'll notice like right away, oh, I shouldn't have said that. Because like that's so mean, and it's somebody's personal work and they put time into it. So sometimes I think you have to screen for like people that can learn versus people that are maybe so far along that criticism, they'll take it in a different way. And it's like crazy, I noticed.
And I think we both were young at the beginning stages of INAV as well.
You guys are still young.
I am.
So Grillian, how did you start in Suffer Productions?
So
because it's very different from a lot of like, I guess like filming or videography.
Yeah. So yeah, like I said, I went to film school, graduated, but I was doing wedding photography while I was in school, and then after school, and then so while I was in school, I made a few like short films and stuff, and then, but I knew like my heart, my soul was in filmmaking, directing, and writing. So for that, I had always like talked to Nav that like, hey, I'm working on this project, I'm doing this, like overlook it in like a third person perspective. So he's always kind of been a part of that journey too.
Yeah.
And then when I was like, hey, like I kind of want to do my own thing, I literally broke down crying. I was like, I don't want to like leave.
I was shooting a wedding and she was like, hey bro, I need to talk to you about something. And I tanu intuition hai the sixth sense.
Yeah.
मैं क्या कि भी something's off. And then I could not wait. I was so much in hurry कि मैं wedding day finish होवे मैं जाके ते गल करा.
Yeah.
And then that was quite an emotional move.
Yeah, because I was like, we like started everything together, like did our first wedding together, and then for me, I was always like, how can I like do him the best? And because I didn't want to just like leave, like give like a 2-week notice and like leave, right? Because again, like I had weddings that I was, obliged to do. So then I gave my 2-year notice because I had weddings that were up until 2024. So then finished those, and then I was like, hey, I'm gonna start my wedding, my thing in 2024 then. And then I had a few weddings, so this was like my fade out year. It was supposed to be my fade out year, but then I guess next year might be the fade out. I don't know if
I honestly, I like not the way we're talking about it. I don't think it's ever gonna.
I don't think it's gonna happen.
It's not gonna happen.
She has slowed down in the shooting part.
Yeah.
But she is still 200% in management.
Okay. Yeah.
She still spearheads all the client meetings and.
Yeah, see, so that's what like I had talked to even like Robin as well. He was saying like really like manages all that. So that's why I was asking if you do photography as well.
Yeah. So like this year, like the whatever bookings I had like previously, that's what I was like finishing up. Plus like a little bit more here and there if I needed be. And then next year I think I'm gonna be doing more so like the travel weddings, so that I can whenever it's like too busy over here, we can still take the travel stuff.
Yeah. I feel like I would definitely want to get you two out of the team for my wedding. For sure. I'm like, I want
That's like
that.
Jasmine.
I want that team. I want Nav
Well,
and Gurleen
thanks for
together.
inviting us to your wedding.
You're welcome. I mean, man is still pending, but it's still pending.
Okay, I'll say this. For my wedding, I had Nav do it. Right? This guy was so mad. He's like, मैं पकड़े पौने से मैं सारा कुछ करना. But he did. He still enjoyed it.
Yeah.
But then even on the wedding day, he was like, you know what? If somebody else was doing this, I would take the camera away from them.
Yeah.
There's no way somebody's messing up my sister's wedding.
Yeah.
I can't hold myself back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
I know. So I was gonna,
एक मिनट.
you're like shooting and you're like,
Yeah.
I was gonna ask. I know. So I don't know if you guys like have seen this clip or heard this story, but we had like Janni on our podcast, and his wife does car decor,
Yeah.
right? And he told us a really funny story where they went to go and collect like the money, and then the one time, well, there were two stories actually. One, like the mom was like, she never came back, and
When
then
he went to their house, so Tina rang the doorbell. She's like, Hanji, like, you know, like whatever, here to collect the money. Auntie said, okay, bas ek minute mud ke aa gayi. She closed the door and she never came back outside.
And
Like
then-
at her house. Like,
yeah, and then there was like one story where like Janni was like, we went and we asked for the money, and he's like, Hanji Paji, assi na loan vaste wait kar rahe hain, proof nahi hoya. So like, have you guys like ever encountered something similar? Because they obviously they paid deposit before, right? And then you guys like, so how does like that work, or do you guys just take payment before as well?
We had like so far we have been very lucky.
Yeah.
And but one thing that just recently happened, you know, when you have had like all the positive experience throughout your career, you feel a lot more comfortable कि भी हाँ भाई ठीक है कोई नहीं. So one of the recent this year summer wedding, one of the couple, they straight out refused to pay.
yeah, that's how it is. Like, that's how it is. You're like, I was talking to Jenny's brother about this too. And he's like, sometimes you go to do like collection people, they do like building. And like people said, they can't, we apata bankrupt bhai. Like, देख लो तुसी अपना साथ तो नहीं मिलना कुछ.
चलो at least they are being honest, right?
Yeah.
कि पैसे हैं नहीं गए, right? ते पैसे देन तो जमे, if like it's like
So did you?
lying and trying to get money out of it.
So did you send out their like pictures, or like how does that work? Or like can you send it to collections?
Yes, we can send it to collections, but like जेड़ा साडा final balance ਹੁੰਦਾ ना, it's usually not much.
Yeah.
It's like $1,000, $1,500. Right?
Okay. Yeah.
And for that part, like personally, I don't feel like sending it to collections. We always have an option,
Yeah.
but like $1,000 पीछे क्यों किसी दा credit खराब
Yeah,
करना? चलो,
yeah.
it's okay if they don't wanna pay. It's okay. चलो अपने वालों अपने छोटे भैन भरावां ਨੂੰ ਸ਼ਗਨ ਸਮਝ ਲਓ.
Yeah.
It's-
Yeah. That's.
Yeah. I think it all comes around unless they like straight up just like are being disrespectful. But for like a lot of people, I feel like it's a lot of like mental energy to chase somebody for money.
Yeah.
Like it's a lot more than you think.
Yeah,
Like
it's not
you
worth
question like so many
Like
things.
all that bukai is not worth it.
it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, well, in that case, before we end off the podcast, I'd ask both of you, what would be your advice to your younger self? We'll start with Nav Paji, and then hopefully anybody out there listening in the audience who wants to be like you guys, I'm sure there's many, they can take that advice.
2 मिनट दे दो सोच लें.
Yeah.
No, it doesn't have to be that deep. It doesn't have to be that deep. It can even, you know what I mean?
Yeah, but this
yeah,
is like something you
yeah.
think to your younger self. So,
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So it has to be like thoughtful. I think for me is कि भी कोई परवाह नहीं. जो दूजियां दी छड्डो, कोई tension नहीं. Whatever the other person think, like don't live yourself for somebody else.
Yeah, 100%.
It's like कि भी पजामा पाना पजामा पाओ, कोई टेंशन नहीं कि भी कोई आए नहीं गा कि भी बंदे ने कि भी किद्दां दे कपड़े पाए नु कपड़े
Yeah.
हैं नहीं गए, right?
100%.
भी और इनु खान दी अकल है नहीं गी और
Yeah.
people will find anything. Just don't do परवाह. Just like
That's sick.
Yeah,
That's
just
really
keep
good.
doing
भी चक दो.
That's really good advice because कई बारी time बहुत वापस जाता है.
Yeah.
I was just thinking like that.
Like you realize like after a certain time, when I was in my 20s, ਮੈਨੂੰ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਸੀਗਾ ਕਿ ਵੀ ਹਾਂ ਬਈ हेयर स्टाइल टच ਵਿੱਚ ਹੋਣਾ ਚਾਹੀਦਾ ਤੇ ਬਾਲ ਬੂਲ ਪੂਰੇ ਸੈੱਟ ਹੋਣੇ ਚਾਹੀਦੇ ਆ, ਸ਼ੂਜ਼ ਵਧੀਆ ਹੋਣੇ ਚਾਹੀਦੇ ਆ, ਜੀਨਾ ਜੈਕਟ ਜੁਕਟ ਪੂਰਾ ਹੈ ਵੀ ਘੈਂਟ ਬਣ ਕੇ ਤੇ ਵੀ ਕਾਲਜ ਜਾਣਾ ਹੈ ਤੇ ਪਰਫਿਊਮ ਵਗੈਰਾ ਪੂਰਾ ਐਵਰੀਥਿੰਗ ਹੈਜ਼ ਟੂ ਬੀ ਪਰਫੈਕਟ. ਹੁਣ ਆਏ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਕਿ ਵੀ ਹਾਂ ਚਲੋ ਵੀ Costco ਦੇ shoes ਨੇ
Yeah.
Costco ਦੀਆਂ ਪੈਂਟਾਂ
100%.
yeah ਚੱਕਰ ਹੀ
Yeah.
ਕੋਈ ਨਹੀਂ
It's just chill.
Yeah.
It's like ਜਿਹੜਾ ਅੰਦਰੋਂ ਸੋਹਣਾ confident ਆ ਉਹਨੇ
yeah.
ਉਦਾਂ ਦਾ ਹੀ ਹੋਣਾ right.
and now I feel a lot more like comfortable
Yeah.
ਕਿ ਵੀ ਹਾਂ ਵੀ ਚਲੋ ਵੀ it's you have your energy to spend somewhere else.
Yeah, 100%.
I just feel like there's always room for improvement. So it's like if I was to like look back on my journey, it's be like work harder. Like yes, I worked hard growing up. Like even throughout high school and university, I've always, worked at like my peak at what that was. But I think I would still say like work harder. Like there's always room for improvement. Even if you're at your peak, find that room for improvement and work on that.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like that, especially for all the creative listeners, I feel like that's really good advice because I feel like being in a creative field, sometimes like you don't really know what to do and you get stuck with things, right?
And I think like people take sleep and like the amount of sleep that you have for granted.
Yeah.
And I think that like even in like when I was in university, like I was in like 3 hours of sleep a night, 4 hours of sleep a night. I was like functioning fine.
Yeah.
And then after university, I was like, okay, I need to get my like 7-8 hours of sleep. I'm like, like I'm fine without it. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you can train your body to like sleep less.
Yeah.
And that's like I would say advice for even now, like sleep less, work and do what your goals are.
Yeah.
Like, work towards those goals and like sacrifice a little bit of your sleep and you'll be fine.
It's actually sick. Yeah, especially I feel like when you're healthy and like the rest of it, like you can sacrifice some sleep.
Yeah.
And like I got in the habit of like done? Oh, I got in the habit of like eating like really heavy food and then going to sleep for like so long and then waking up late. And it's just so terrible when you look back and like I spent 6 months like that versus like, not eating, like, keeping a little chill, more activity, less sleep. I love that. That's amazing. Yeah. Well, thank you guys both so much for coming on the podcast. It was an honor, inspired many people. And we'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.
Yay.
Thank you so much.